This week, we're talking about roll-ins. Drop-ins are great and all, but sometimes you need a little more speed for your line, or you just feel like mixing it up, and this is where roll-ins come in. A roll-in is exactly what it sounds like. You're moving on your skateboard and you roll right over the lip of the ramp rather than a static drop-in. Roll-ins can be terrifying for new skaters or old skaters that don't do roll-ins. And so we're gonna break down today some of the best ways you can approach your roll-ins, get more comfortable, more confident, and we'll have you rolling into every ramp everywhere in no time. While in practice it's considerably more scary, in principle, rolling into a ramp is just like popping off a curb. All you want to do is you approach the lip of the ramp, bend that front knee into a real little manual. You'll feel your back wheels bonk over that coping, and as soon as you do, you know you're good to slam down, lean into it, and roll away like a drop-in. Of course, this is easier said than done, and some of the ways that we find roll-ins are a little more approachable are approaching the coping from an angle rather than straight on, and also knowing the ramps you're rolling in on. If it's a new park or one you've never been to, or a ramp you've never even dropped in on, probably not the best one to learn a roll-in on. You want to pick something predictable that you're used to the feeling of riding around on so that you can confidently execute that roll-in. A few things to avoid with your roll-in is the disaster roll-in, where our front wheels drop before the back wheels clear. A lot of times a competent rider can de-weight and roll in anyway, but for most of us beginners, we're gonna hang up on that coping and splat like a pancake at the bottom of the ramp. So remember to keep that knee bent, keep the nose up until you feel that gentle pop from the coping, letting you know you're clear and you're ready to stomp it. The other thing, as I mentioned, is the angle that you're approaching your roll-in. It can be intimidating and more difficult to do a roll-in straight on, as with too much speed, you might miss your transition and just fly straight to flat, or you're gonna do that disaster drop. So what we recommend is approach the coping at a soft angle, and rather than just popping in, you're gonna lift up and actually kick turn into the ramp. Using your shoulder and incorporating a little bit of turn really helps commit to the trick and feel a little bit more confident as you're trying it. Some of you out there might prefer backside turns, some of you like front side. Play around with both options. Most people find one that's a little bit easier for them. Some people can do both. Good for them. I'm not one of them. The real secret for mastering the roll-ins, of course, comes from the tried and true confidence. You gotta feel good doing what you're doing. And the second one being weight placement. So what we like to think about as we approach that coping, our knees are bent, we bend the front knee to bring the nose up, and we actually like to float a little bit as we bonk off of that coping, almost like a mock ollie. If there's less weight on your board as you're transferring, it's gonna be a much smoother transition. And even if you end up in disaster, if your weight's not real heavy on the back, most of the time you're gonna still ride away. As you're working in on those roll-ins, remember the few keys. Pick a ramp you're comfortable with, have enough speed, stay confident, bend that front knee, and float over the coping, and you're gonna be getting this trick in no time. Once you do, feel free to mix it up a little. Drop a hand on the coping, play around with some reverts. A roll-in is a real fun trick to get styly with. Hopefully, this is helping you work through those roll-in fears. Don't be afraid of knee pads, they're pretty great things. And as you get those roll-ins locked, you might be amazed to find what ramps that were once out of your reach have now become unlocked for you to skate. So until next time, keep stretching, keep skating, and we'll see you then.